Welcome to Arts and Music. I'm your host, Victor Janflone, and today I am pleased to bring you Skip Martin. Skip Martin is a Grammy Award-winning artist, songwriter, producer, and author, best known for his tenure as a lead singer and trumpeter for two legendary groups, Kool the Gang and the Dazz Band. His achievements include MOBO Outstanding Achievement Award, Platinum and Gold Record recipient, R&B Song of the Year, 6 consecutive top 100 albums, 2 top 100 singles, just to name a few. Skip, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. How you doing?
I'm doing just fine. Everything is
Great.
finally piecing together today, so it makes the whole come together, you know what I mean?
All right. All right.
So I wanted to ask you with your name.
Well, my name is Skip Martin. My given name is Sennie, which is Sennie. But I go by Skip.
Okay. Well, I just was watching some other things and heard you give a reason about it. So.
Oh, yes. That came from my grandparents, my grandfather. That was back in the day, not that long ago, when everything was segregated, black and white wards and everything. And my great-grandmother was they had the black wards and the white wards, but both of them were full with people, ladies in labor having babies. So they put them all out in the hallway. And when they put them in the hallway, my great-grandmother befriended another lady that was from Germany. And the lady from Germany didn't understand why they had black wards and white wards, because everything was the same where she came from. So they kind of protested, and they switched the name that they were going to have for their children. So I don't know what name my great-grandmother had for me, but whatever that was, she gave to the German lady, and the German lady gave her the name for her baby. So that was Sennie Rudolph. That's why I have the German first and middle name.
That's really interesting.
Yeah. My grandfather, Sennie Rudolph Sr., and my father, Junior, and I'm the third, and my son is the fourth.
What was it like growing up in San Francisco?
Well, yes, but I didn't grow up in San Francisco. I grew up in Sacramento. I was born in San Francisco. But I kind of grew up in Sacramento and San Jose. I went to school at Mount Pleasant High School, and in San Jose, August Boger Junior High School. And lived in Santa Clara and went to, I was in a drum and bugle corps called the Santa Clara Vanguard. Do you remember that, Victor?
I do remember seeing drum and bugle corps. I was in marching band in high school. We were competitive. So, yeah, I did go see some drum and bugle corps competitions. Well, the
Santa Clara Vanguard, we were one of the best in the country. Matter of fact, we won what they called DCI, Drum Corps International. We won a couple times while I was in it that year. And it was amazing. I was one of the only black people in there at that time. It was only 2 of us. Well, another girl, she was an Indian, but they called us the same thing anyway. That's where I got my feet wet and did my first tour. I was 14 years of age. I did my first tour playing drum and playing bugle. Yeah. And at that time, they didn't like brothers playing lead anything. You know, if you were black, you couldn't be a quarterback or the lead trumpet player or lead violinist or the coach or anything of those natures at that time. But because of the gift, I could get on the field. I could play any part that I wanted to because I have a photographic memory for notes. So I had chops. So I could get out there and play what I wanted to because on the field, we were all one unit. And I kind of liked, at that time period, what the gift of music gave me because I could have anonymity from that social distancing that was, or social injustice that was going down at that time due to color and race. So it helped me to be kind of having a camouflage.
With your family though, Skip, is music always there?
Yes, it's always been, part of my life, part of, actually it was sometimes I'm not as proud of it to say it, but it's always been the accessory to what I was about, was my family and everything else, because the music was something that is in me so much that it took priority over everything. So I meant my family had to pay the biggest price. You know, that's one of the things for success at anything, is that the people closest to you pay the biggest price for your success. The more successful you are at it, the less they get to see you.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just, you know, evidential. This is fact. It's what happens.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so, but you got to be about something, whatever it is that you want to be about. If you really want to be about it, you have to be willing to, like they say, all or nothing, or put it on the line. You know, that's where success comes.
Yeah. Well,
You
I
know?
saw that you'd mentioned that, something I read where you were talking about the having a lady that's understands what you do, and that's to be a part of what you do.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Understanding it
Mm-hmm.
kind of has the visions of those type of goals in mind. If you have those goals in mind, then she has, well, this is how I can do to help you to get those goals, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But that was just because that's what they had to understand, they, meaning the woman or what have you, the partner that I would have, or anybody out there. If you have a goal like that, you're driven like that, it's important that that partner of yours has some of those visions, because knowing a person like myself, or an individual that is driven like I have been driven, that's a prerequisite to happiness for me. If I couldn't have that, I want somebody that's going to be that, because that's a prerequisite for my happiness.
Mm-hmm. Nat King Cole. What's the
Yes.
influence of Nat King Cole?
That kind of started things, because I was 7 years old. That's when I started my quest for music and everything. I was 7 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And I was riding in a Dodge Rambler, actually, with my grandmother and grandfather in San Jose. I think Nat King Cole had just passed away, because they were playing a tribute to him on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
I heard, "Unforgettable, that's what you are." And I was like, wow. It sounded like he was in the car with us. And I told my grandmother then, I said, "Nana, that's what I'm going to do." And she said, "What, baby?" I said, "I'm going to play music so that when I die, it's going to sound like I'm in the car with people." And that set out my mission for where I was going, because my goal in mind was to be remembered after I'm gone, so that I'd lay something down that would make them feel like I was still alive in the car with them.
Wow.
And that
Mm-hmm.
was my premise to why I started playing music.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started actually playing the music at 11, and I became a professional at 15. So I remember coming back to Sacramento after this drum and bugle corps, and I met a guy outside of a place called Skip's Music, ironically. Skip's Music. He was standing outside of Skip's Music.
Nice.
And I ran another guy, and they asked me, they heard me playing in jazz band, and they said, "Can you play You're Still a Young Man?" I'm like, "He's still a young man." Like, da 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 da. I'm like,
Yeah.
"Shoot, man, that's a piece of cake." He said, "Why don't you come on in? We want you to audition for our band." And that's what got me started playing in a professional band. After my mother turned him down the first time, they came and said, "Could he come and play with us? We want him to play in our band and be the trumpet player." And she says, "No, he's only 15 years old. He's too young. He's got to go to school and get his education and this and that, so forth." And I cried and I whined and I pouted and I pleaded and I begged. And they came back the next week with some flowers. And asked my mom again. She said, "Okay, I tell you what, I'm going to let him go out here and play with you guys. But the first time he doesn't come home at 11 o'clock, it's all over. You got that?" "Yes, Miss Martin." "Okay." They let me go out and play. I played for them for about 2 weeks. I was doing like 5 nights a week, 6 nights a week. And this is back in the early 70s. I made $250 a week. And at that time, that was some money.
Mm-hmm.
And I came from that money with my mom. That was more money than she was making, paying where she was doing her job, taking care of me and my sister. So she just looked at me. She said, "Well, just go ahead. And then I started a regimen of playing from 6 nights a week. I was a wrestler in school. I did the different sports where I could. I was kind of a rebel in that because I did sports where I could battle with the white boys and beat them up legally. So I would do stuff like wrestling. I do stuff like tennis. I do stuff, and instead of the regular things that brothers would do, the basketball, the football, they expected us to do that, but they didn't expect me to be on the bowling alley. They didn't expect me to be playing ping pong. They didn't expect me to go and play tennis. They didn't expect me to be on the water polo team. They about drowned me in water polo, though, because white folks are lighter than brothers, and they were just floating around and swimming over me. But I could... I was a good diver, I was heavy like a rock, so I had to keep swimming.
That's what I'd be like.
But
that's awesome.
But I could wrestle against them, and I could pin them to the mat. It was okay. That was part of the thing. All that kind of thing. So, that's when I started playing, and I had to schedule it. Crazy, because other kids, they were doing their regular schoolwork, and they come home. I had to be at school at 7 o'clock in the morning. I did stage band. I did my other classes, and I had a symphonic band. And then I would have the pep band somewhere in that day. And then after school, I'd do my wrestling. And I'd get finished at 6 o'clock after coming out of school, 2:30. I'd get finished at 6. I'd walk home. I'd take a shower or not, being a young guy. I'd get myself ready, and the guys would come and pick me up at like 8 o'clock because we started playing our gig at 9 o'clock. We'd play from 9 o'clock till 2 in the morning. And then by the time they got out of there, what have you, it was 2:30. By the time I got home, it was 3 o'clock. And I'd start my day all over again the next day at 7. So I did this for 6 years.
Wow.
I mean, I did it for 4 years of high school and 6 nights a week, just about.
That's amazing, man. When did you discover the voice?
When I was in this band. It was called East Wind Band. It was out of Sacramento, and I think my first song was Zoom. I had 2 songs with my first song. My first song was Zoom. Zoom, I like to fly away. Zoom, 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 zoom. It was a song from Commodores. And then the next song was a song called Law and a Masquerade. That's what it was.
Was that the Benson one or
George Benson? A Masquerade. Yeah. And that was my second song. And somehow the trumpet helped me to sing. It taught me how to sing and what notes to sing. It's just part of what I did and enjoyed to express myself. And as I grew and developed, the bands that I got in after that, they would hire me because of my vocals, and the trumpet was just an accentuated, an accented part that would help more times than not. I ended up doing more singing than the trumpet playing. They wanted me to sing, so that left my trumpet on the stand a lot when I was doing live performances. Matter of fact, when I got into the Dazz band, we did on our first albums or second albums, whatever. I did all the horn parts that we did in the recording studio, all of that. But when we did our live shows, I was the lead vocalist. So if we did 6 or 7 songs, the only time I could play my trumpet was when they actually orchestrated one thing for us to play our horns on and demonstrate that. But the rest of the time, you had to sit on the stand. But that's where, I think that's where my singing came in, because that's where I started noticing what was going on with my singing, because when I get on stage, that's what the bands wanted me to do, was sing. And that's how I can make my money, because at that point in time, there wasn't going to be a lot of money made for a trumpet player. A trumpet, because things had changed. Music had changed. And I remember one time my mother told me, I said, "Well, I don't know if I want to be a trumpet player. What's that going to be, a trumpet player?" I never. She told me, she said, "Baby, I want you to make a clock." I said, "What?" "A 24-hour clock. And I want you to put down on that clock everything that you did in 24 hours. Everything that you did. If you watch TV for 2 hours, you put that down. If you played your trumpet for 2 hours, you put that down. If you ate for 2 hours, put that down. If you slept for 2 hours, you write that down. Everything that you did in 24 hours. And then you add up what you spent the most time doing. And whatever that is, that's what you like to do. That's what you ought to do. And after I added up all what I was doing, I was spending 8 hours in a day playing trumpet. So I said, well, there it is. And it helped me to choose where my direction was going.
So when did you join the Dazz band?
I joined the Dazz band in, I think it was 1979, going into 1980. I had been in a group and on the road traveling before I got there. I got in a group called Mighty Generation after I left Sacramento at 19. Went to San Jose to get into a bigger band. I wanted, I came out of school and wanted to go on and be a musician, take a shot at it. Went to the big city and met this group called Mighty Generation. The Mighty Generation wore hot pants with leggings from the knee down. We played Parliament Funkadelic. This was the chitlin circuit where you made $20 a night a man, and 10 of those dollars went to the community bag of weed, and that's how we were living. And I went trap these guys until I ended up playing a concert, opening a concert for a group called Kinsman Dazz in Youngstown, Ohio. And I was about done with being a funkadelic and smoking weed every day and, living it that way. I didn't want to be that forever. I was just a growing thing. So I was like, I really want to do something more. And I saw this band and they had a sound to them I really liked. It was like, man, they're killing. But they looked like they were fragmented a bit. They didn't have a horn player. They did have a guy singing. He was killing. So I didn't want to infringe on what he was doing. I just wanted to get into the band. So I went over, I think I was 20 or 21 years old, and went over to the leader of the band after the show he did. And I said, man, you guys looking for a trumpet player? I'm your man. And they thought, wow, this guy got a lot of balls for 21. And but they decided to bring me on, and somebody else was talking to them about me and my vocals and so forth. And that's when I actually got into the band. It was called Kinsman Dazz at that time. They had 2 albums on 20th Century Fox, and one of the singles was "Might As Well Forget About Loving You" and "Catching Up on Love." They were produced by Philip Bailey, and it was a blessing. I got a chance to be in that band, and leader Bobby Harris came and picked me up and took me back to Cleveland.
Yeah, they're based in Cleveland, right?
Yeah. Yep. They were based in Cleveland on a street called Kinsman. Is where the band was come from.
Kind of like the Gap Band.
Kinsman Dazz.
Yeah.
Then we from Kinsman and became the Dazz Band, and that Dazz Band stood for danceable jazz, because everybody was a musician and played instruments, and that was part of our style. And our manager Joe Simone at the time, he would dress us in Europa suits and red ties and red Maori shoes, and we were very classy and what have you, and like a singing group like the Temptations, but everybody had an instrument in their hands and were singing, and that's what made us different. So not only just dancing and singing, but we were playing, and that's how that developed. That's when that started for me. I did about between 1980 and 86. I did 5 or 6 albums with them. One of them I won a Grammy for, the album "Keep It Live." It had Let It Whip on it.
Let It Whip, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, that was a blessing, and that just took me over. And I got a chance to meet other people and play with other artists.
Yeah.
We opened up for the Whispers. Our first tour was when we got our first gold record. We opened up for the Whispers, and we went on the road with them. We had a tour bus that was our homemade tour bus, because we didn't have money like the big boy groups already had big records and stuff. We made our own school. It was a school bus, like a 57 school bus that we painted red. And we put panels and wood panels and what have you in the school bus to create panels so we could sleep on the road. And that's how we got out there on the road. And then the next group that we toured with was Kool and the Gang.
Mm-hmm.
And we did a lot of touring with Kool, opened up for Kool and the Gang. We had our few songs that were a hit. And we would just take and get the audience. They'd just be jumping all over themselves, what have you. We thought we were the shit. We just knew we had some stuff going on. And we were just kicking. And then Kool and the Gang would come out after us, and they'd had 15 hits. So they wanted fresh, okay. By the time they got to Get Down on It, Ladies Night, these people were jumping and doing handspring that day before they even got to Celebration. People were like, lost their mind, Joanne, cherish, cherish, I love waving. It's like, damn. How do you? Then they do Celebration. Oh, it's all over.
Yeah.
Oh, they don't forgot about who we were, But I got a chance to know the guys and learn some things, from that. And then I was out there with Rick James. Oh my God. I loved Rick. Rick was one of the baddest one-man show entertainers that I ever saw in my life. I mean, besides James Brown, Rick had some audacity. He had kahunas, age prowess, and he just, it was it was a tough time, different times, and they were doing those cool jazz festivals with 40,000 people in the baseball stadiums. And I can be candid, right? Tell you how this happened.
I'd love to hear it. Absolutely.
Rick would come out there, and back then there was a big thing about them smoking weed and this and that, so forth. Even, him and George Clinton, they would come out with, fake weed or a big joint or something of that nature, and what have you. And Rick would get out there, and he's playing "I'm in Love with Mary Jane," feeling my pain, busting out. I'm busting out of the L7. He's like, that straight, stuff that ain't for me. I'm going a different route. And he had that persona with the audience. And I remember after being all proper, and we had to find ways to say certain things. We couldn't be as free with it because radio wasn't going to play certain things you said, and you had to be very free with it. We didn't talk about sex when we did Let It Whip. We just had to find a, alternative way. Let's whip it, baby. Let's whip it right. And that was our way of being a little bit, obscure, a little bit out of the box. But he would just come out there and straight out of the box. It didn't even matter. He'd go in and do his thing. And I remember one night he came out there. He had a song. He used to tell me, "Skip, you take my mic and you go out there and you kill them motherfuckers, man. I don't care what you do. Just go kill them." And I'm like, "What? Okay, Rick." So he comes out there afterwards, after he had told me to do that. And then he comes out with the same mic, and all these people waiting for him. They're playing. He just walks on this. He walks out with a joint in his mouth and looks out at the audience and says, "All right, you motherfuckers, are you ready?" And everybody lost their mind. I was like, I know he didn't just call them that. And everybody is out there, "I'm a motherfucker!" And they were losing their minds. I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy was something else. He was the rebellion that, "You gonna let these guys take me to jail for doing?" No! Okay, because back then, if you got caught smoking weed, they take you to jail.
Oh, yeah.
He'd come on stage doing it and tell them, and dare the police. "I dare these police to take me to jail. You gonna let them take me?" No! 40,000 people. They were like, "Just kick back, let it happen, dude. Hey, it wasn't worth it."
That's right.
And I learned some things about that audacity. And I remember he had a song called "Fire and Desire." He sang with Tina Marie.
Yep.
And
she was great.
It was a great song. And I remember one day he came out there. They had the band. They were just playing. Doo, 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 ah, doo, 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 doo. And they're just playing the vamp. He walks out on stage real slow. Doo, 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 doo. He grabs that mic. He says, "Love," and drop the mic. Boom. And walks off the stage. And everybody's screaming, "What? What?" And they're just yelling. They're just yelling and yelling. No band. The band stopped. Everything. He just boom. He just dropped the mic and he walked off the stage. He walked back out onto the stage, picked up the mic. Them and leave them. Boom, boom. Pop. Oh, we lost our dang minds. We were like, oh my God. Woo! Oh my God, Rick! I mean, it was just like crazy. He just had a prowess with the audience. So I learned a lot of things being on the road with guys like that.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And I played for, you know, a while, you know, time with Dazz band till 1986. And then, you know, we just kind of came to a difference in mind and different things we wanted to do. And this was like the height of, this was after we had just won the Grammy, and about 3 years after we'd won the Grammy, and stuff was changing up, and I wanted to go a different kind of way with it. So I had enough courage to say, I'm just going to go and I'm going to risk it. I'm going to start over again and go back to home and revamp my stuff. I had with a woman, and we were going to get married, and she was pregnant, and we were having a son. So I said, you know what, I'm just going to go back home and revamp this thing. And I went back home, and I was there for about 6 months. My son was born premature, and we had to go to the hospital every day with him because he was 1 pound, 15 ounces. Couldn't be out of the hospital. He had to stay there for 3 months plus. And so, you know, I was there doing that, and then I got a call. It seemed like out of the clear blue sky. J.T. Taylor, James Taylor, who had been singing for Kool the Gang, had left the group. They'd had a falling out. It didn't work out. So Kool the Gang, who I played with opening with them, we had started a relationship. They called me. So we want you to come and audition for the band because JT has left the band. And I was like, wow, okay, that would be great. You know, and I told my mom just fell out. You got to, what? I got to call Mom to go and audition for Kool the Gang. She just fell on the bed. She's like, what? Oh my gosh. You blah, 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 blah. And she said, now, baby, let me tell you something. You're going to get that gig for Kool the Gang, but you're not going to be the first person they call. And that's what actually happened. They called another guy after they had called me, had another guy go out there and sing with them, and it just didn't work out. So they ended up calling me. Come on, Skip. The other guy, it didn't work out. Come on, we're going to do it. And they brought me out there. Now I had to learn how to dance and sing at the same time. Before, I mean, I was doing it. We danced and we had parts and stuff, group things. But in this, you had to be more solo stuff in between the words because it wasn't like you were singing the whole time. He's like, you know, JT went, girls, y'all got one dance. The night that's special everywhere. Dance, 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 dance. It's New York, dance, dance. Hollywood. It's late at night. And they're feeling good. Come on in. Like dance, 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 dance. What a night. And so I had to learn how to do it. Shoot.
Wow.
I got 2 left feet. I had to learn how to dance. They put a choreographer on me. Man, let me tell you something. They put a choreographer on me. Her name was Beverly Brown out of New York. She choreographed all the stuff for the whole band. And DT, one of the generals of the band, he said, now I want you, Beverly, I want you to work with Skip. You know, give him some extra time. You work on him because he needs some, you know. So she's coming on. Okay. Now she was so good at her dancing. She could just make her finger move just pow and do pow, make her body going pow. I mean, I couldn't do none of that stuff like her. And she was working her butt off. And so one day she just told me, she said, Skip, if you ever get caught and you don't know what to do, just stop and pose. I said, really? Yeah, just stop and pose. So I was doing my stop like John Travolta. Bam! You just pop, boom. So we played Madison Square Garden about 6 or 7 months after I had been in the band. 40,000 people plus at Madison Square Garden. And the New York Times wrote up an article on Kool the Gang has a new lead singer that does more poses than the Statue of Liberty. I was like, oh, I was John Travolta. Boom! You know.
Strike a pose.
Yeah, like a puppet. I mean, oh my goodness, that was before In Vogue and all of that.
Right.
Oh my goodness. But that's kind of how things developed, and I acted like I was smooth, but really I was kind of gangly and long and tall, and didn't know how to work all the things in my body. But I was a good actor, so I would act like I did something incredible, which was nothing. So that's how I learned my style of front manning stuff.
We've got to come together. If not now, then tell me when. Can we fix it? We're gonna change tomorrow. Stop all the pain and sorrow. What's with the hate and greed? We've already got what we need to make things right. Stop disrespecting women. Praise all the life they've given. When? If not now, then when? Make it better. If not now, then we're gonna change forever. Show them how. When? Love each other. Be kind to one another. If not now, then we've got to show the way. Let's make a brighter day. Make it better. Be like a Deepak Chopra. We need 1,000 Oprahs. When? Now that the time's upon us, let's help the single mamas. Make it better. It's time to change the power before the final hour. When will we see? Yeah. Make it better. If not now, then we're gonna change forever. Show them how. When? Love each other. Be kind to one another. If not now, then a time in soil, don't raise the price of oil. Can we fix it? Look to the skies above. We should be making love. When will we see? Yeah. When? Make it better. If not now, then we're gonna change forever. Show them how. Let's make a brighter day. Love each other, be kind to one another. We've got to show the way. If not now, then when? Make it better. Once with not the hate and greed, we're gonna change forever. We've already got what we need. Love each other, be kind to one another. If not now, then
You still work with the Dazz band, though?
Yeah, we have a couple of new songs out even right now.
Okay.
One's called Drop It, and the other one's called Your Love. Actually, I came back. They had a brief period with Kool the Gang. I was there. I thought I was going to be there for, a couple of years, 3 years. It ended up being 2 decades, 20 years, from 87 to 2007. And there was a time after the first 10 years with Kool the Gang, they decided to bring back JT Taylor, try something with JT, see if they could make it work. Well, it actually didn't work. But they tried it for almost a year. They fired everybody. And so I went back home and tried to reboot up some things. And I had done a remake of a song that I did with a Dazz band, Let It Whip. And I remade it in another kind of way. And with a rapper, which was a new scenario on there. And I was having it mixed at a place called Bernie Grunman Studio down in Los Angeles. Mm-hmm. He was a great mastering engineer.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
He actually mastered Let It Whip. And so I went to this place to have this song finished and mastered. And when I got to the studio, they told me, well, I thought because I was doing a remake on Let It Whip, that they were confusing me, thought I was the Dazz band. They said, oh, Dazz band, you're in that room. And I go into that room to do my stuff, and here's the Dazz band actually working on some stuff. I'd been gone for 10 years. And Bobby Harris, the same guy that picked me up in Youngstown, told me, you know what? You need to come back and wear your old shoes. I said, you know what? I think I'll do that. So we started working on it. Matter of fact, we did an album right then and there called Here We Go Again. And we started out and then working stuff out and doing that. And not a year after that, Kool the Gang came back to Las Vegas to play a corporate show. Yeah. And I went down and saw the guys, you know. I was like, hey, man, how you guys doing? Can I sit in with you? And DT, the general, he says, he thought about it. He said, okay, dress him up. And they let me dress out, and I dressed out and played with the guys, and they had a meeting. They said, look, we're going to let you come back and be in the band again. We want you to be in there. I'm like, you going to pay me? He said, yeah, we're going to pay you. And I said, okay. All right. So he said, yeah, we're going to bring you back in the band. I said, well, I'm playing now with the Dazz band as well, so that's all right. We got another guy, Sean, he can do singing, so you won't have to just sing every night anyway, so that'll be cool. I said, cool. So for the next 10 years, I did both Dazz band and Kool the Gang. Whenever I wasn't playing with one, I played with the other. You know, you got to have 3 C words. I go out and do motivational speaking with kids and companies and what have you. And I tell them what I've learned at this point in time, that there are 3 C words to success. Can you tell me what those C words are? And they'll come up, well, confidence. I'm like, no. There's cash. No. There's charisma. I'm like, no. I said, well, the first one is you have to have courage. You have to have courage to go to an environment that's less convenient, less comfortable, and to make your way. And the second C word is you have to have the vision to collaborate with somebody else that has something that's great that you do not have, because there's power in number. And the third C is you have to have a relationship with Christ. And by having all of those 3 C's together, success will come. You just have to be prepared, because success is a double-edged sword. The people closest to you pay the biggest price for that success.
When did you start doing your solo music?
When I got into Kool the Gang, I started doing some different solo projects. Actually, when I came out of the Dazz band, I started doing so. Well, totally right now, I'm just finishing my 69th recorded project.
69th?
69.
Wow. Okay.
But I did about 12 different albums with Dazz band. I did at least 12 or so with Kool the Gang, live recordings, collaboration. Then I did about 12 or so collaboration album where I worked with different artists and recorded stuff on theirs. And now I've done another 25 or so as solos on my own. So I'm just finishing my 69th project, which is a collaboration with 27 different artists that I called and had them record on a song. I recorded on the song called People Get Ready, Curtis Mayfield song. Mm-hmm. I made it like We Are the World, and I got Pastor John P. Key, Taylor Dane, C.C. Peniston, Tony Terry, Allison Williams, John Alfonte from Kansas, Kevin Chalfant from Storm and Journey, Ray Parker Jr., Ghostbusters, Robert Cool Bell, Reggie Calloway from Midnight Star. I put all these people on this one song, People Get Ready, and it's an amazing track. And I'm working on it now. I got Robert Cool Bell to play the bass on some things, and I'm waiting. I've already got the paper done from Stevie Wonder, but I still haven't got the harmonica part. Waiting to get the harmonica part on that. And then we plan to release that shortly as a single. It's one of the baddest projects I ever did in my life because it wasn't about me. It was about people that had love for me. And I asked the people to be on this project, and they said yes. And
I can't
I
wait
ended
to
up
hear it.
recording it.
Mm-hmm.
I got the group As Yet and the Dazz band are on it, singing on it. And so it's just a phenomenal thing. So I'm just I'm just now finishing up that 69th project.
That is
And
awesome.
I'm very fortunate, as an artist, a lot of times artists, and they get caught up in the perfection of trying to make things, well, it's not quite right yet. We got to, it takes 2 or 3 years and 4 years. And I'm like, no, it doesn't. Because really, when you play it the first time, it's already a perfection, a reflection of what God can do. And that he doesn't make any mistakes, and it just comes out perfect. Mm-hmm. However, you might have wanted it to be a certain kind of way, or fix this, or, your intentions are going to be perfect. Maybe that wasn't quite right. So I just learned how to, let God and let go. So I'll do something. If something is not quite right, or I'll go back and fix that. But I make sure that my engineer who I'm working with, you get the first takes. Get the ones that are first takes. I don't practice anything on recording. I let it all just bleed out from the soul, because that's how I define what music is. For me, music is the sound of a soul singing. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And there's nothing more perfect than that. That's what music is. So, once you start trying to get in the way of yourself, you start taking that perfection. So I always have to make sure that I have the red light on when I'm going in to record something or what have you. And sometimes I don't even have words, but I'll just get up there and start spitting it. Just let it, just let it go. And you won't believe it, because a lot of times it will just fall right out onto the floor if you just allow it to happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the big key to greatness on that is let God be great and get out the way and just let it come out. My mission in life has been to leave something in humanity so that I can at least show that I was here. And that's what it's all about to me.
Legacy.
Yeah. Legacy is more valuable than greatness. Mm-hmm. Greatness from the struggle. Greatness comes from getting up no matter what and going back and persevering and doing it again. So greatness has to do with that, overcoming challenges and keep going.
So I wanted to ask you about your new album, the current one you've been working on. It's going to be released, I guess, very soon. And it's called Audacity of Miles.
Yes.
And why the title Audacity of Miles?
What I really respect and appreciated from Miles is that there's an attitude that went with it. There was an attitude, how dare you do that? I'm going to play it if I want to play it. You just need to listen. He had the audacity to, y'all think I'm the shit out of here, but listen to what I'm playing. Matter of fact, I don't care nothing about y'all. I'm going to play over here to my drummer so we can get in this groove. And people were like, well, he's not even playing to us. He won't even. That was part of that audacity. I want you to hear what I'm saying. And there's an attitude that comes with it. So that's why I have this music that I've created that I felt was very Miles motivated and inspired. And that's kind of a character that I have within my soul. I just have audacity it doesn't have to be what everybody's doing. I don't have to be like everybody else. I don't have to be like this one or like that one. This is what I like to be. And that takes some audacity. But this is a little bit of a track called Give It Up, Get It. And this is where that audacity comes from. This is the first single of Audacity of Miles. You thought I was dead, but I'm not. Give it up, get it. Give it up, get it. Throw your hands up. We came to party till the sun comes up. Give it up, get it. Give it up, get it. Throw your hands up. We came to party, we don't give a fuck. And that's kind of how that goes.
I like that. Nice. Very nice. Yeah. That's great, man. And I agree. I agree with you about the not trying to be like anybody else, man. Just do your thing, man, and people will accept it.
Right. And I'm fortunate. I'm just thankful, and I try to hold on to not only those new things, but sometimes things that are taboo, sometimes things that are so different they don't expect from you. I closed out this particular album with a remake of a song that has a gangster vibe to it with a classic feel. Because I come from that old school of very classic. Mm-hmm. So I put this song together. We put together what's really going on, and I combined the old school with a new school feel on it. The song is called What's Really Going On. It's time you knew, lying days are through, so tell me what is really going on. Just listen now and don't make a sound. I'll tell you what is really going on. Take a walk every part of town. I can see where you've been messing around. And now love has died with every line. So tell me what is really going on. Take a walk through every part of town. I can see where you've been messing around, baby. Love now has died with every line. Won't you tell me what's really going on? So tell me what's really going on. So tell me what is really going on.
Very nice. This is all released? It's very soon, right?
Yes, this comes out on the 22nd, which is in less than 7 days. The whole album.
That's
it's
great.
Called Audacity of Miles. On Wolf Entertainment, it'll be on all the digital platforms from YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, SoundCloud, all those different places.
All that stuff.
Yeah, all
yeah.
the different digital platforms where you can get music.
Yeah.
Please check it out.
Yeah. And again, I want to thank Helmut for hooking us up. The Wolf Man. He's a wonderful man.
Entertainment, I've known him for a long time, and we're just trying to make these things happen. And I'm glad he made the introduction for us to do this. And I appreciate your support and giving me this time today to share a bit of my story. It's a blessing.
I appreciate you doing this. I mean, I'm always grateful for my guests.
And you can go to my website, Skip Martin Music, and you can see all of my different videos. And then I have a children's book that I want everybody to check out, which is called Morgan and Clydesdale Pony. All right, that's one of my projects out of those 69. This is my children's book. And just check it out when you can. It's for 0 to 8 years of age. It teaches kids to read, and it teaches them esteem. Right? You can be anything. You can be anything if you believe.
And you also have another book, I think, that is kind of stories of your life. Is that correct?
Yeah, this is coming out also this year. This is called Fables of a Paid Piper. And there are stories like Aesop's fables, and they all have morals to them. They're life stories that happened to me. And so I just got on the mic and I just kind of recanted the stories. I don't know how much time we have. You want me to tell you a story? Quick one? Or no?
Well, we're running out of time, but a quick one, yeah, sure.
Well, the quick one is called The River, and I was
that's your brother.
I was in Sacramento, California with my brother who lives in Oakland, in Richmond. He sent him to come and stay with his mom, sent him to come stay with me in the summers, get him out of trouble. He's 15, I was 17. And he would travel with me while I was doing my gigs and playing my band stuff. So at the end of the summer, we decided, and this story is called The River. At the end of the summer, we decided we were going to get this raft and ride down the river and watch the girls with their tops off in the middle of the summer and at the end of the summer, with our little cans of beer and our afro picks in our hair. And he doesn't know how to swim. He's from Richmond, a city boy. And I take him down there. It's my first time on the raft anyway, so we're going to have a good time. We're going down the river, American River. And it was a drought that year, and the river was lower than most times. And as we get to this one area where my father was going to pick us up, I started hearing a sound like rapids. And I said, those are rapids. We can't go over the rapids. In this raft, we're going to have to use this oar and paddle and get out of the river. But the current was just going too fast and too strong. We couldn't get out of the middle of the river. And I told him, you know what, Lee, we're going to get in the water and start kicking so we can kick to get out of the middle of this river because we can't go down these rapids. He's like, I can't swim. I said, don't worry about it, man. The water's not that deep. And just hold on to the raft. It'll hold you up. But this is ice cold water. It comes down from Lake Tahoe. This is like trout water. We get in that water, we start kicking. We're just kicking. And we still can't steer out of the river. And I looked down the river where the rapids were, and I could see this tree with these long branches sticking out of the water towards us. And I knew if there was some out of the water, there was underneath the water. So as we got down to the tree, it was almost like every man for himself. And my brother jumped on one of those branches and was holding on to the branches upside down like a koala bear. Now I'm the oldest. Can't see leaving him out in the river. I can swim, but he can't. I can't leave him where he falls in the water and drown or something. I got to tell my mom something happened to him. Oh, no. So I grabbed onto this rope that was tied to the base of the tree, and I'm standing in a hole about 4 foot deep. I'm 6'2", and the water was rushing on my neck, ice cold water. I'm getting thermia as it's getting dark. And my brother said, Skip, what are we going to do? I said, shut up, Lee. I'm trying to think. And I'm trying to figure out how we're going to get out of there, but I can't leave him. The ranger comes to close the park. He sees my brother hanging upside down on this branch over the water. Can't even see me because I'm only a head sticking out of the water. And the guy comes down on the raft, tells my brother, jump on. And he lets go of just before it gets dark, he lets go of the branch and falls into the raft. When they got to me, I let go of the rope and jumped onto the side of the raft. And we floated about 20 yards down the river and find out that the river was calm and 2 foot deep. So the moral to the story is life is like a river. If you struggle against the current, your ass is apt to drown. But if you just relax and take your breath and let it go, it will let you out.
That's wonderful, man. That's a good way to end this, actually.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. And when will that be out, the book?
We're putting that one out probably middle of the summer. It'll go out on Audible, Amazon, and Kindle. It's an audiobook.
Great. That's wonderful.
Fable of a Piper.
Nice. I'll be looking forward to it.
Thank you so much, and God bless you, and I look forward to talking to you another time.
Well, thank you,
All right.
Skip. I appreciate it. Have a great day.
All right.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for watching Arts and Music. And if you would like to be a guest on the show, please email us at artsandmusicpgh@yahoo.com. And until next time, peace.
She makes me feel